Hello and welcome back to the Tiny Artist TV live streams for the Color Palette Challenge for the month of November. So for all of November, I'm going to be doing daily live streams. I did miss yesterday, so today, as you can see here in my little sketch here, I have two drawings to do today. So I will be taking a break in between, but I will be getting both of those done. I have gone ahead and done the sketch ahead of time because I knew this was going to be a long one. So to speed up the process, I went ahead and did the sketch off stream. And we have the color palettes for today. The one on the right, the one on the left, starting off strong here. The one on the left is Corfish, and that is the one from Tuesday. And the one for today is Briar Rose, this sort of washed out floral selection here. So the way I'm going to be handling this, I think, yes, I'm going to go ahead and cut this sketch and put her on her own layer. And so that way I don't have both of these to be distracted by. So we're going to cut and paste, and then we're going to do the same thing with the Briar Rose color palette, and they can just kind of go in their own little folder for now. So I'm only looking at one drawing at a time, but again, I will be doing both. So standard stream, I'm starting a little later today. Normally I've been starting at 9, but as you can see, I'm getting started closer to 9:30. So I'll go from 9:30 to 11:30 for the first part, take a little break in between, stand and stretch, maybe hop on the treadmill, and then come back, probably do from 1 to 3 is what I'm feeling. So let me drop these in a folder, and I'll just label this character 2. Drop down the opacity here, hide this folder, and we're just going to focus. I missed a little bit there, but that's fine. Focus on this anime fighter character to start with. I'm just finishing my tea real quick. That's good enough. All right. For this one, I am going to go back to my Sino pen. Actually, for both of them, I'm going to go back to the Sino pen. Just because I need smooth, clean, crisp lines, no crutchiness here. We're not going for anything super stylistic. This is just going to be good old-fashioned lines, base colors, and cell shading on top. In the meantime, what did you guys do yesterday when I wasn't streaming? Of course, answer down in the comments. I don't think I'm going to mess with chat today. I'm just going to leave it off to the side because I just want to focus on the drawings for today since I have 2 to catch up on. But feel free to let me know in the chat what you did, if you did any artwork or if you went for a walk, caught up with a friend. I might need to go a little lighter handed on these lines. Oh, it might be okay. It's fine if it's a little blocky. Definitely go lighter weight in the face because it's got some very fine details. Go a little darker on the top. And suddenly I can't see the people. What's happening here? This is also probably going to be a relatively quiet stream, except for the music, because I'm really concentrating. At the very least, I might try to make it more interesting in the playback video. I suppose I could talk about my motivation for, for picking these particular types of character design. At first, my idea was that these were kind of going to be like a pair of characters, like two sides of the same coin, because looking at the colors, the color palettes side by side, they were almost opposite of each other as far as where the colors would fall over here in the color wheel. So my idea was to kind of do similar outfitting, and then wherever I put one particular color, I would do the opposite color. I think I'm still going to do that, but as far as these two characters being like strictly related to each other, as far as like setting or profession or anything like that, I think it's a little, I've separated them a little bit more than my initial idea. And so now I can still see them occupying the same world overall, but they're, I don't think they would as intentionally cross paths as I had initially envisioned, and that's fine. The main difference is that, well, of course, one's a male, one's a female, but they are two separate classes of character. So this is sort of a fighter class, if we're going with D&D language, a fighter class character, and the other one is a caster. So with that, I was thinking maybe one was sort of like a military court caster, and the other one's kind of like a rogue or mercenary, like for hire type personality. But now I think I just like them as, you know, as they are. Just as sort of cool looking characters. Just not everyone has to have a backstory. Differentiate that. His hair is going to be two-toned. So I'm just trying to mark where the difference is going to start. So it's going to be red on top and blue underneath. And so I've kind of got a little bit of a distinction going here and here. And then he's going to have a couple of little blue streaks in his little, like, fronds up here. This is back of the neck. Here's an idea. Depending on how long it takes me to do the liner, I normally set a timer for 15 minutes to do the sketch, 15 minutes to do the liner. I'm gonna do that today, just because an unusual situation. I'm thinking, no, I'll do one, finish one. I was sort of playing around with the idea of maybe just doing the line art for both of these, and then do the coloring in the second part of the stream. But I want to go ahead and finish one and then start the other. So that way I'll also have less footage to cross cut through when I'm doing the editing for these, for the VODs later. I'm being just a little looser with my line art than I usually am. Because I think the sketch is pretty strong, and so if I just follow the sketch, I'll be fine to capture the idea, and so I don't need to be super precious with the line art this go around. Yeah, there is no way I would have finished this in 15 minutes. The initial sketch off screen to finish both of them took me about 45 minutes. Just between posing and character design choices. And I'm just realizing that this looks like Yu-Gi-Oh's gloves. Had someone recently ask me where my inspiration comes from, because we were watching anime, and I was like, yeah, is this something that inspires you? And it's like, well, to an extent. I guess it goes a little deeper than I thought. And I guess this is also like, I'm sort of going for more of like a Genshin Impact. I don't even play Genshin. I'm scared to start it because I know it's something that I'm probably, like, if I picked it up, I would get into it for maybe a couple of months and then just completely ignore it and feel like I wasted that time. It happens all the time with gacha games that I have downloaded in the past, but I do like the designs. Some of them are a little unnecessarily intricate, but they make for good cosplays and good character designs overall, and like design studies, like how to make an intricate character without going overboard. And I think a lot of that comes down to all of the little details that they put in, as in, like, you know, just little things. Because if you're going to be doing a character that's intricate, you don't want a bunch of like big accessories, because that's going to crowd the design. Also, sorry if the audio quality, I've been watching the playbacks of these live streams, and it's still just, it's not as smooth as I would like it. When I'm doing other recordings, this mic is fine, so I don't want to buy another mic just for streams, because I'm not going to be streaming like this on a regular basis. So we'll just have to put up with whatever comes through, unfortunately. I am glad that it's at least still really smooth in the playback videos that I've been doing for you guys. And that's kind of a motivating factor, is realizing that the audio is so much better in that, and that you guys can still have the drawing video experience without any of the technical kerfuffle that I've been dealing with. This is shoulder, this is arm. Might give him some tattoos. Why not? Won't do them in the line art. I'll end up doing them in the coloring, because that would just be a pain in the butt. All the little folds in the shirt. Also, moving forward, I will be open to suggestions of characters you guys want to see, especially since I'm in, well, at this point, halfway through week 2. So we've got Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So for the last couple of weeks, I think I would like to maybe take some drawing suggestions, just to see what kind of characters you guys want to toss at me, see if there's anything I can come up with combining those suggestions with the color palettes that I have, just to add an extra element of challenge. No tangents, no tangents. There is just enough space. Speed lines here. Top of the boot, crease of the boot, foot of the boot, boot of the boot, fruit of the loom. To do a blending of, oops, let's see. Let's do this, so I'm not craning my neck. I'm really bad about zooming in and turning things. Instead, I'll just like get way too close or crane my neck in a really uncomfortable position. But That's why the tools are there to alleviate stress and reduce the risk of injury. One of these days I'll learn. What are we at? We're at 20 minutes. Let's be a little bit cleaner. Don't need to rush. I don't need to rush. Got plenty of time. Oh, the back of the hair. My slightly caffeinated pumpkin roll tea. I got up a little earlier than usual, so trying to stay awake. I don't usually mess with caffeine, or at the very least, like, the most caffeine I'll do is tea. I'm not much of a coffee person. I enjoy the taste, but I don't enjoy the after effects. It makes me way too jittery. I end up, without fail, like, just unable to sleep. Even if I drink it at, like, early in the day, it stays with me all day to the point where by the time I want to go to sleep, I cannot sleep. So tea is the way to go for me. So I'll do some wispies in color once I get to that, but I want these here kind of as a placeholder. Get a little bit of this going. Clean that up just a little bit. I think I'm ready to start on the color. Let me just make sure I haven't missed anything. Not quite sure, because the braid starts underneath of his bangs here. So this isn't anything. Got this glove detail. Yeah, that's what I'll do. I'll do my thick lines and then erase back in. And it's supposed to be a point. This is going to be dual line. And erase that back out. I've got 2 circles. Those I will just draw. And then a second set of lines here. It's just a little wonky. Just clean that up. And then I'll get started on the color at 24 minutes. Cool. So yeah, I think that's a realistic expectation. If I give myself 30 minutes to do the line art, since it took me, well, between the two, it took me 45 minutes. So that would be about 22 minutes per line art if I'm splitting it right down the middle. He took less time than the other character, though, because the thing that was most complicated with her was figuring out the folds of the jacket. Initially, I had this falling forward and made it more mysterious, but I wanted to give her a little bit more attitude, so I had to fold the jacket behind the character, and so that took a little bit of time to figure out. Yeah, but I think, oh, I didn't do the speed lines on the boot here. This is why we always double check. This is just gonna go over like this. So it's kind of, it's like he's stamping his foot down, but this one's actively moving up and this is actively moving this way. Should I do some little like, I mean, it's not, that doesn't hurt. All right, I'm gonna stop messing around and get started on the color. I got to set this to reference. So I'm gonna start with where I know what I want to do, which is the hair being red on top and blue on the bottom. And then there's gonna be some like little blue interspersed in that. Yeah, just like that. If you are familiar with the inspiration of the name of this color palette, which again is Corefish, I'm pretty sure you can very quickly see why I decided that was a good name. In the recap video, I'll include a picture of Corefish. I'm not going to Google right now just to pull that up, but is once again a Pokemon. He is a aquatic Pokemon. It looks like a giant lobster. I think maybe I'm thinking of Crawdon. No, Corefish, he's got the star on his face. But these are essentially his colors. Excuse me. Yeah, the bright lobster red, well, cooked lobster red. He's got like the blue accents, the sort of creamy underclaw and underbelly, and then the bright yellow star on his face. I hope I'm thinking of the right Pokemon. I mean, if I'm not, it's of no consequence other than the fact that I'm wrong, but it's not like I'm never wrong. Let's get a couple of little blue wispies. Of course, all of his beads are going to be like gold accent with like a bright white highlight. And I'll pick a darker yellow, because I think I like color picking the shadows more recently than just doing a multiply layer, even though I already have an extra layer over here to do that. I just think it looks better. Unless I do the duplicate color and then multiply. But if I have enough time, I am going to just color pick the shading. Oh, should I? Ooh, let's do... no. Well, yes, because that'll separate between the braid and the bang, I believe. You know, this is super sloppy right now. There's a little bit missing between the neck and the shoulder. Let me figure out what's going on here. It's just the back of the jacket. Okay. And then I'll make the shirt this tan color. What? Where's the gap? Oh, there's a huge gap right here. Okay. Of course, the piping, well, not of course, the piping is going to be red. Yeah, if I go ahead, I don't want to spend a lot of time on screen cleaning up the colors. And of course, I can just cut that part of the process out of the additional video. But I do want to kind of work in the round and get things set so I have somewhere to just kind of reference like where I need to put all of my colors. You know this is going to be red. I'll zoom in and clean that up. And that's the other thing, is that I can just go in and clean it up when the shading situation is happening. What color do I want to make his eyes? Maybe I want those to be yellow. Because if I do them red, that's going to be a lot of red in this area. I know I want to make this blue. So I will make the glove tan as well. Well, that leaves the pants. I don't want to make the pants white because I want to save the white for like the swords and the highlights and everything. Well, I'm usually better about realizing that I don't have certain colors and then editing out elements that would have been that color, exchanging it for like, okay, well, I don't have this, so I can do this instead and it'll have the same effect. Not so much here. I was just kind of going with rule of cool if you'll have it. This. So the underside of this needs to be blue. That's what needs to happen. Because that is feeding into here. And I can clean that up later. Yeah, this is very anime protagonist. But that's what I was going for. Yeah, and the hair. So recently, yeah, I've been watching Witch from Mercury, which is one of the more recent Gundam titles, and I really like the way they do hair. So stylistically, that's kind of what's happening here. The hair is not red because of Soletta. The hair is red because I wanted, that's what would give me the most contrast style wise, having the red on top, blue underneath. Shoot, what color am I gonna make the pants? I guess I have to make this red and have the accents gold. But then I almost want to change the color of this. Should I just go ahead and make it a darker tan? Because that was the idea. But that's the color I'm going to use to do the shading in the folds. I can't do that. Let me just keep this on here though so I have it. Yeah, I gotta change this back. Well, maybe what I can do then is I can make this red, because that'll still have that blue accent, and then I can make the main gloves blue, because the knuckles are still going to be gold regardless. Problem is, that doesn't look good. Maybe I should make it white. That's another reason why I don't use white as my background color, is so that if I do end up using white, I can actually see. Yeah, this. And then I'll just use like a gray blue for the shading. Maybe if I make the pants white, that'll help. And then again, just doing gray. And then should I make, if I make the boots red, is he gonna look like Ronald McDonald? I don't think I like that. But the boots being tan, well, that's not bad. Let me change this back to red. No, I'm not liking that. What am I gonna do with these colors? At the very least, the sword can also be white. Hello. No. I had a feeling that was going to happen just because this is so broken. I need to strengthen my close gap. That's better. That is going to be too big to close. I'm just going to do with this, and then do with this, and that. Man, I don't like that glove being red. It feels so right. What if I change this glyph to red instead? How is that? Why is this being so crunchy? Well, if I do that, I've got to figure out somewhere to put the blue. I guess that's a good thing I don't like that. What if I make... If I make the pants blue? Like a very bright blue jean? No. Oh my goodness. There's 2 people watching me struggle with this right now. Excellent. Welcome to the struggle bus. Enjoy your stay. I need something that's close to the colors I have. This will help me figure out what colors to make the clothing. Because this... I didn't need to make that smaller. I think I want to make the pants, push those back to white. But these gloves cannot be red. I don't want to make his whole outfit white, but that would look... I think that would look cool. It would look kind of like a uniform. Also, sorry it's jumping around so much. I am just trying to get the spacing right. Normally my character is right in the center, but he's all the way over here because I have another character off to the side that's currently not on screen. Now that skin tone with the yellow eyes, that works. But the outfit, I'm just gonna go back to making the shirt tan because that's what worked the best. These pants, man. Should I just take this and push it into a navy? Because that's what I want to do. Huh. And this I can just do with this. It's down here. Clean that up when I get down to the details, but I'm still trying to figure out where to land this plane on the colors. With Briar Rose, I know that I want the hair to be purple, the accents to be orange. So this is the other colors that I'm working with for this character. So she's going to be a little easier to deal with. This is going to be the staff, the magic, eyes, accents. I mean, in theory, this should be really easy for me to color because it's primary colors. But that's what's also making it look really juvenile. Because that red, yellow, and blue are so, like, just in your face. Having them next to each other, it's too punchy. Okay, that works. We're getting somewhere. If that's the case, what happens if I make his pants yellow? You don't know until you know. It just kind of looks... I think making them navy is too far outside of the color palette to keep. The yellow does not look good as is. And this is too close together. This could work. That's too... No, that doesn't work. At 45 minutes, so I have about an hour. I'm not going to spend the entire hour playing around with these colors. I've got to make a decision. And so this is like actually a challenge now because I just don't know what to do. What if I make this white and I make this red? No, that's ugh. I just feel like the gloves being red is just, it's too aggressive is not the right word, but it's drawing too much attention to itself. Go back to making the boots red. Should I make the pants red? That's better. I don't hate it. So I think making the pants white is too bland. What if I make the pants red and the shirt white? Are we getting somewhere? Make it tan. I am hyper aware that this stream in particular is not as entertaining as some of my others, and that's making me very nervous. I shouldn't be nervous because there's only one person watching right now, and I know exactly who it is, and I know he doesn't care about my struggles in a way that's going to deter him from consuming this stream. However, I'm not intentionally making this gross to watch. I am trying my best to figure out what the heck to do with these colors, and it is just struggle city over here. This should be watercolor. What if I make the sleeve red and the pants red? That's too much red next to... Oh, I can do a little bit of this. Yeah, there we go. I just needed something to break it up. Because the other character, she's kind of wearing... They're skinny pants, but she's got some like swirly designs on them, so I can just do that to kind of connect these two characters. Yeah, that helped a lot. I just need to clean it up a little bit. Devil's in the details. That's for sure. Alright. I just have to clean this up. I think it would be smartest if I maybe just sort of clean as I go, putting details in. it doesn't feel quite so tedious. 'Cause I enjoy this. I know it's probably not super fun for you guys to watch, but I enjoy like the cleanup process of just really getting in there and just fine-tuning the placement of things. It's therapeutic. Ooh, now that's an idea. I will wait until I'm done cleaning everything up, and then I will play around with doing that. Gotta eat my vegetables before I can have dessert. And right now, I'm still munching through those vegetables. Okay, because he has darker skin, his palm is going to show. It's not too far off from the color of his shirt, but it's a little more orange. So it's different enough. I know this is going to need a major cleanup because I changed the colors of the sleeve so many times. But this had to be blue. When I was drawing this part of the design, I knew that I wanted this to be like a magic seal type situation. And for this color palette, that was going to be blue. So I think if I made it red, it would look more like cybery. Yeah, that works. Just had to reconfirm that the red pants, though a bold decision, was the right decision. Because what else was I going to do? I had already tried yellow. I tried blue. I had tried the white, which wasn't bad, but it wasn't giving anything. It was just a large swatch of white. Oh, these little tassels would probably be better served as a auto outline layer. Let me see. Eh. The only problem with that is because of the brush that I'm using. It's a little chunky, but it's not, the worst solution. Alright, this hair, I'm gonna do some wispies and red and blue. following. Probably better served by doing it with the Sino pen, so I can get the variation that I need and the thin detail that I need. At this point, I might as well just merge this with the line layer. But I think I'll worry about that at the end. Just getting a little more detail in where things kind of start and end. This is going to be color blocked with shadow. Where's my light source? Maybe this direction. So we're going to have, this is going to be in light. This is going to be shaded. Which means this needs to have just a little more care put into it. Where am I sitting at? 58 minutes. So then whatever highlight I add, do I want it to be white, or is that going to be, it's a little stark. But if I'm working with what I got, then that'll be fine. And a little bit up here. Yeah, that's fine. And just erase a little bit of this back out so that the shine fully comes through. And go ahead and get started on the folds of the shirt. Get that color picked back. So because the light is coming from here, all of this is going to be in shadows. Of course, we're going to have shadows in the folds. Have a little bit of light peeking through under the arm. Here and here, and just clean that up. little bit of shadow here. I might even push this to be one shade darker because I want those folds to be the darkest part of this section of the shirt. So let's see, this is going to be in shadow. I have just a little bit of lighting creeping around the side. A little bit under the collar and the tassels, which because those are on a separate layer, I can just do this. Have a little bit of light coming through, but have the shadow of the tassels doing what they need to do. Shadow on the collar. And just a little bit in the crease here. A little bit here. Whoops! Whoa! Got too generous with the tassels. Got desensitized to the fact that they're on completely different layers. And I've got someone else who's popped in. Hello, welcome to... Finally gotten to the detail part of the character creation. After a long time spent deciding where to place the colors. Just clean that up. Let's get a little bit of shading in the braids. This is going to be in shadow. This is going to be in shadow. This whole side of the face and neck and all of this hand. Let me do one thing at a time. Have, yep, that back end there, back end here, which means these highlights actually need to be on the other side of the bead, and this is where my light is coming from. And here. So then I think I'm gonna use. No, I'm gonna pick a true. Whoa, wait! Oh my gosh, they are in the same section, so I can just use this color. So that's what I was gonna do. And I was like, no, I should pick one that's actually in there, but no, this works. I think this is the first time I've had two colors that are effectively in the same, like the exact same section. That just makes my job so much easier. So that gives a nice, like, deep contrast between like the highest part of the gold and the darkest part of the gold. Yeah, that works out just fine for me. I do want to leave just a little bit of yellow in here. So I'll pick that back up and put a little bit, just like get those bridges popping. Okay. Since I'm over here, I'll go ahead and do this section. There's not going to be too much shadow on this part of the character except for in the folds, because this is directly where the light source is shining. So the only part that's going to really be in any kind of shadow is like right at the edge of the bicep here. And maybe a little bit along the edge. If anything, I should probably actually put a highlight here and here. But I'm going to go ahead and get all of my shading done first with the colors that I do have before I start picking other outside colors. Let's get the skin done. I want it to be a little bit warm. Yeah, so that the shadow isn't like gray but has a little bit of like light and blood in it. Get a little bit of that going. So it kind of looks like there's some light shining through the bangs. A little bit under here. Here, the ear's not going to have too much, pretty much only where the hair is kind of covering. But again, this is also facing the light. The placement of the ear feels a little far back. I'm going to fix that real quick. If I was on the right layer, because this is, so it's going to go here, top of the ear is going to start here. It's just way, way back there. Actually, I think all of this would be blue. Get that shading back in there. Okay. At an hour 9, still making good time. Let's just use the bucket tool for that. Just get just a little bit of light on the cheek here. Trying to get this swoop, there we go, to cooperate. We'll have a little bit of shadow under the eye where that hair is covering. This will be in shadow. Yeah, this looks much better than if I just did a multiply layer. I mean, I guess I could do, so an easy trick is to do a pink for the skin, and a blue or a gray for any sort of like clothing or inorganic materials. Um, because the way it uh, ends up blending with the colors is that with the pink, it gives the flesh a more fleshy look, and then with anything else, it just kind of has that traditional wherever your light source is, that sort of shading. And so for the longest time, that is the only way I would do cell shading before I got brave and moved into actually doing my shading with like colors. And then I started experimenting with other ways that I could easily do the shadows. More specifically, when I was working on my webcomic and needed to be able to produce a lot of art really fast, I found the fastest way to do that and still have it look good was to duplicate the color layer, set that to multiply, and then set that to a warm tone or a cool tone depending on the environment around the characters. And just erasing out the highlights in that layer. When I finish my tea, it's so horrible. Oh, it's gone cold. It's still good, but it's definitely, yeah, it's cold. Okay, so next big section. What would happen if I did this? If I made the shading on the sword blue instead of gray. How does that look? What do we think? And by we, I mean me, because I still have chat turned off. Sorry, but your opinions don't matter this time. I'll turn chat on tomorrow when I'm not trying to do two characters. And the darkest part would be here, furthest away from the light. Let's get a little shading on the shoes, and then I'll worry about the pants, because that's going to be a large area to color. It's actually part of the sole. I keep forgetting that these are on the same layer. I should have done that little bit of detail after I blocked in everything. So now I'm just going to have to draw it back in, which I still have 45 minutes, so it's not going to be a problem. It's just kind of poor planning on my part as far as realizing what still needed to be done um, for the color blocking before I do any sort of fine-tuned situations. Yeah, this is not going to actually have that much shadow on it because, again, the light is coming from this direction. So actually all of this would be, there would be a little bit of shadow from this leg. So like here. I'm going to make that section of the sole darker too so that it's not the same color and it's not that difficult to read. I might need to soften that because the leg is actually, it's pretty far away. So it wouldn't be like a sharp shadow. Let's go ahead and get started on the pants. Something else I like about cell shading versus like any sort of hyperrealism is that it's just so much more flexible. Because like when you're working in realism, it's very easy to tell when something's not quite right. With cell shading, you do still need to have the general idea of, you know, where lights and shadows end up, but you can still, there's much more room to make things just kind of look cool and stylistic versus like it needing to be super duper realistic. Of course, the closer to reality you get, the better it's probably going to look. And I say probably because I'm thinking of my Cupid's Arrow character, where I kind of went a little fast and loose with the lighting, and it had this really cool stained glass effect in the end, which is not realistic given the light source that that effect was coming from, but it ended up looking really pretty. So sometimes you don't have to be like so strict about having a realistic light source or having a realistic lighting effect with cell shade, as long as the main idea is there. This is going to have some light coming through. Because if it's coming from this direction, this leg is behind and this leg is out front. So actually, I think the only place there would be really harsh light or really harsh shadow is in the deepest part of the crease of the pants. Oh, okay, I need to do this. And we're going to fill this in to avoid the pattern on the pants. This is where doing a multiply layer would have been helpful, but it's no big deal to pick this and then just paint it darker. So it's going to end up being a dark gray here and here. Let's get that crease just a little bit sharper. Yeah, the light is sort of bending around him a little bit. Maybe a little bit of shadow on this side where there's also some creases. Just to sort of break up all of this red. Maybe just a little bit on the edges here where the sun is bending around. And sharpen that up. Yeah, so far so good. Okay, so the last bit I need to do this in shadow and then the shadows on the hand of the glove. I already have a dark blue, so I'm just going to pick that from up here. I'll clean this up a little bit. And then I think the last bit of detail I'll need to do is anything with the eyes. So basically just using this color to make the pupils. And then the last little idea that I had for, it's going to end up being part of the weapon. It'll just be another way to use the colors that I have, because most of what I've used is the red. It's like that anyway. With this dark blue on the glove. This is going to have some white highlights just to make it look a little more magical. I really didn't use too much of that white outside of the sword. Alright. Top layer. What do I have on here? That's all the hair. That's the tassels. What happens if I merge these? Okay, it's clean. It's clean. Sometimes if you merge layers that have different things going on, it gets a little messy. Okay, so this is all in the line art now. What is this? Is this anything? This is nothing. So I'm going to use this layer to do my effect. It's going to be this. I'm going to use this color. I'll probably end up duplicating it. I'm going to use the Sino-Pen set to 30. Should be good. Let's do, yeah, let's see. Now this is going to need a little help, a little bit of glow. And I can just cut back in, make that a little more jagged. Probably should have started with a little bit beefier of a pen. But this is different than how I usually handle lightning effects. I do this more so for like flame or more fluid magic. And this isn't something that like I stumbled upon. Like it's a tip that I found floating around Twitter or X, whatever we want to call it now. It's Twitter. It's always going to be Twitter. That's the consensus among the populace, is that it's going to remain Twitter. But there was an art tips thread that I was perusing through, and this was one of the, or it might have been from the artist page, how they do like flashy magic. So if I go ahead and do this as add glow, it's fine, but I do want it to retain its original color. So I'm going to set this back to normal. I'm going to duplicate this, and then I'm going to add glow to that. And then bring it down a little bit. And then let's take this off. And then I'm going to do a Gaussian blur instead. Let's see what 10 looks like. Ten seems to be good. I'm at 1:30. Well. So then the last thing I can do is add the highlights from the lightning. How do I want to do that? So this is going to be... I was thinking that was going to be too bright, but I don't know. Maybe should I just go ahead and make this transparent? That makes more sense with the lighting. And you can tell it's blue. So then there's going to be a little bit of highlight under here. This I will want to make relatively clean. But yeah, I'm gonna work on this, and this will be like the last thing I do. If I finish early, I finish early. Because I still haven't had breakfast. This cup of tea was my breakfast. So I'm gonna get up, eat a little something, do some stretches, and then come back at, what time is it now? It's 11:03. So yeah, I'm thinking I'll come back at like maybe 12:30. So if the other one only takes an hour and a half, I'll finish by 2 o'clock. Does that sound about right? Hour and a half for 12:30? Yeah. No. Yes. Just clean this up. Do I have this set to reference? I do not, so I need to set that to reference. Maybe a little on the back end here. Maybe I'll add a little bit of... Okay. I'm gonna have a little bit of highlight under the eye here. A little bit under the hair, on the underside of the braid. On the edge of the face. A little bit here. Edge of the collar. Edge of the tassels. Clean that up just a little bit. Got just a little too much glow. Edge of the beads here. Highlighted wispies. And here. And by the way, if anybody's interested, not that anybody has asked, I am available for commission. I have a Ko-fi page where you can request or commission character portraits for any of your campaign needs, or if you just have OCs that you want their ideas a little more solidified, I'm available for that. The page is tinyartist516, just like all of my other stuff. I just felt that this portrait in particular was strong enough where I felt confident advertising my services in that regard. But yes, I am available to do artwork for you. I also do more traditional stuff if you just want, a picture of some flowers or your dog. Because that's what I was trained in, but stuff like this is what I enjoy doing. Let's get that. Yeah, a little more broken. This special effects is also like really good if you're into Kimetsu no Yaiba or Demon Slayer, because the sword techniques kind of have this like whooshiness to them. Let's see. Oh, I didn't do any shade. Well, you know what? Maybe there would be a little bit down here. Now that I think about it, no, that's the wrong pen. Because the boot is not flat. The boot has roundness to it, so it needs a little bit of... There would be shadows on that part. Okay. I'm satisfied with this. I think I'm finished. Well, so that ends the first part of today's stream. Like I said, I will be taking a break and coming back in about 45 minutes to an hour for part 2. And then the VODs will also be in part 1 and part 2, so both characters will have their own recap. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and end the stream. If I can get the hotkeys to cooperate, that would be fantastic. All right. So yeah,